Welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you two ways of creating a video out of your presentation in PowerPoint. The first method I'm going to show you is very easy and straightforward. The second one will be a little bit more involved, but also offers some more features. To record this tutorial, I'm using PowerPoint on a Windows computer, but both methods also work in PowerPoint on Mac. However, especially for the second method, the interface will look slightly different with fewer options. Before we actually open PowerPoint, it's important that you make sure that your audio input is set to the correct microphone. To check this, simply right-click on the little speaker symbol down here, click on Open Audio Settings, and then make sure you've selected the correct microphone here under Input. Once that is done, I can open my short test presentation. You see that only has 3 slides. And the easiest way to add audio to your slides is to simply click here on Insert, and then here on the right, you have the option of adding audio. To do this, simply click on the symbol here and then click on Record Audio. That's going to bring up this small interface here where you can start the recording, stop the recording, and replay the recording. To show you how that's going to look like, I'm going to start the recording. So I've just started it now by clicking on this button here. You see here it's counting up the seconds, how long the recording is already running. And once I've said everything I want to say about the slide, I can click on Stop Recording. And when I click on OK, you have a little symbol here which has appeared, which indicates that there is an audio file associated with the slide. I suggest that you move the symbol to the side because that's actually going to be visible in the video. But what you can do, you can also just move the symbol off the slide. The audio file is still going to play, but you won't be able to see it in the final video. It's important to note that PowerPoint treats these audio files similar to the way it treats animations. This is especially important for the audio files because if we don't change the standard settings, there is going to be a delay between the slide coming up in the video and the recording to actually start. In this view here, so when we click on animations up here and then click on animation pane, we can actually see all the animations we have associated with the slide. At the moment, this is of course only the audio file here. To make sure that the audio file plays immediately after the slide comes up in the video, we only need to change when it starts. And we can do that by clicking up here and changing it from on click to with previous. You see here, the small 1 has changed to a 0, and that just indicates that as soon as the slide is coming up, the audio file will start to play. If you have other animations on your slides, for example, for text or anything else, make sure you have the recorded sound as first animation here in the animation pane, and then set it to start with previous, because then again, it's going to start immediately when the slide comes up in the presentation. Okay, so we can close this, and then you can go on and record audio files for all of the slides. Again, insert here, audio, record audio. Now I've started the recording for the second slide. Again, you see here, it's counting the seconds for how long the recording is already going on. I stop the recording. Again, the symbol has appeared and we can move it to the side. In this method, because you're recording audio for each slide individually, it's very easy to re-record individual slides as often as you want until you're satisfied with what you have recorded. Unfortunately, with this method, you cannot record videos directly. However, you have the option of inserting a pre-recorded video. And again, this can be done via insert here, and then you click on video, and then video on my PC. And from there, you can select the pre-recorded video and insert it into your slides. Everything I've said about how PowerPoint treats the audio files as animations also applies to videos. Those are also treated as animations. So again, it's important to order them similar to what we said for the audio files. Once you're happy with all the audio you have recorded, you can export the presentation as a video. To do this, simply click on File here and then on Export and choose Create a Video. Concerning the settings here, I suggest you choose at least HD because that offers the best trade-off between file size and moderate quality. You can leave this setting here the way it is, so don't use recorded timings and narrations. But here, this setting, the last one, so the seconds spent on each slide, that's a very important setting because this amount of time you specify here is the minimum amount of time the video is going to stay on the slides. So if you specify 10 seconds here and the audio you have recorded is less than 10 seconds, let's say 5 seconds, the video is going to remain on the slide for 5 more seconds without any audio being played in the background. If your audio is longer than 10 seconds, then the next slide is only going to come up once the audio recording has finished playing. So be careful with the setting you choose here, but if you're fine with all the settings, then you can just click on Create Video. And then after choosing a specific file name and the location, you can click on Save. And you will see a progress bar here at the bottom, creating the video out of the test presentation. Because this test presentation only contains 3 slides and I only recorded 2 audio files, the export is rather quick, but especially for longer presentations with a lot more audio files and a lot more slides, this can take quite some time. So please be patient once you click the Create Video button. Once the export is finished, you've successfully created a video out of your presentation, which you can then just play in any video player. That's it for the first method. As I said, it's very easy and straightforward, but rather limited in its options. The second method I'm going to show you for creating a video out of your PowerPoint presentation basically involves you recording yourself giving the presentation, which can also be done in PowerPoint. The advantage of this second method compared to the one we just looked at is that first, you're actually just giving the presentation, so you don't have to record the audio per slide, so that might give you a more natural feel of giving the presentation. And second, as you will see, you can also include a video of yourself giving the presentation. To get to where we need to go for recording ourselves giving the talk, we open our PowerPoint presentation. Again, this is just a short test presentation we saw earlier. Then we click on slideshow here, record slideshow, and record from the beginning. This brings up this interface. And here first, I suggest you check that you've selected the correct microphone and the correct webcam if you decide to include the video. On the top left here, you have the buttons to start the recording, stop the recording, and replay the recording. So even though you can just start the recording and then give your complete presentation, PowerPoint is still going to save audio and video per slide. This has the big advantage that if you make a mistake on a specific slide, you can simply stop the presentation, click on Clear recordings on current slide, and then simply restart the recording and restart the slide you're currently on. This also gives you the option of switching between slides where you want to include a video and slides where you maybe don't want to include a video. On the other hand, because PowerPoint is saving slides and video saving audio and video per slide, that means you cannot talk during transitioning from one slide to the next slide. So you need to allow for a short moment of silence at the end of the slide and maybe also at the beginning of the next slide, just so you can make sure that there's no gap in your audio. So if you have your presentation here, what you can do is you can activate your camera like this by simply clicking on it, and it's going to show yourself here at the bottom right corner. If you're happy with the setup, then you can just start the recording. You see a short countdown, and now the recording for the first slide has actually started. You can introduce your talk. You can say whatever you want. And then you can transition to the second slide, where again, you can talk for as long as you want. If you want to include the video on all of the slides, you don't need to change anything. However, if you don't want to include video on a specific slide, you can simply stop the presentation. You can click on clear recording on current slide. You can turn off the camera. And now if you start the recording again, you're basically re-recording whatever you said about slide 2 without the camera being on. So again, there's the short countdown. Now the recording for the second slide has actually started. Again, you see here, there's no camera at the bottom right corner, so I'm not visible anymore. You can, again, talk for as long as you want for the slide. Once you're finished, have a short break. And now we're on the third slide. Again, you can keep on talking and so on and so on and so on. I also want to point out that here at the bottom, you have the option of actually drawing in your presentation or highlighting some text. Once you're finished with the recording, simply press on stop recording and close this window. So you're back on the normal view for PowerPoint. And now we basically need to do the same thing we needed to do in our first method. We need to export this as a video. To do this, simply click on File, Export, create a video. Again, I suggest you choose at least HD. But this time we need to leave this option on. So for the second method, we need to use recorded timings and narrations. Otherwise, everything we've just done will be dropped. Again, make sure you set this to the appropriate amount of time. Remember, this is the minimum amount of time a slide will be up then in the video. Once you're happy with the settings, simply click on Create Video, then save it under whichever name and wherever you want. Click on Save. You again see the progress bar here at the bottom. This is going fairly quickly, but again, for longer presentations with a lot more audio and maybe even a lot more video, this might take a lot more time, so please be patient. Once the export is finished, you can close PowerPoint, and here you see you've created a video of your presentation. If I start this, you see here, that's the video, that's the first slide. And now we've transitioning to the second slide, and you see here the video is off again, and the presentation will continue playing. So this is the second method of creating a video out of your PowerPoint presentation. You see it involves some more steps, but in the end, I think it's a bit more comfortable than the first method, and it even allows you to include a video of yourself talking if you want to include something like this. That's all for this short tutorial. I hope you find it helpful, and we are all really looking forward to seeing your presentations at the workshop. Thank you.